welcome back to more Let's Play Dragon Warrior Monsters. Last time, we prepared ourselves for taking on the next arena battle by going around, recruiting more monsters, and doing a whole bunch of breeding. In doing this breeding, we did end up saying goodbye to Rain, but it was for a darn good purpose in recruiting Jamaris, a boss that we had just fought, including Akbar too, who helped make Jamaris. It was a long process, but you get the idea. With these monsters, we are one step closer to possibly creating the ultimate monster, which I'm still not entirely sure if I'm gonna commit to or not, but we're that much closer to doing it. In addition, we also made the last of the Queen's post-game request monsters in Divine Gun. This has set us up perfectly to rush on down to the arena, see what we're fighting, and then get on to it. Now, otherwise, want to make sure we have plenty of money because this next arena battle is expensive. Before we take on the fight, like I said, we want to go make sure we have some info here. Yo, dude, want to know who you're fighting in S-Class? We certainly do. The last match in S-Class will be with the Metal Man in the Queen's Room. His lineup is Metal Drac, Roboster, and Metable. Metal Man's monsters are resistant to spells. Attack spells might not be so useful. Yes, indeed. No other information about what else we'll be dealing with, but let me tell ya, it is intense. You're going to want to make sure you have a darn reliable team, because at this point in the game, they're going to be throwing everything at you. So you want to be prepared. Now, overall, I think our team is fairly well prepared. So let's make sure our plan is all correct. I'm liking what I'm seeing. Let's get to it.
Welcome. Which class are you registering for?
The S-Class, a 10,000 gold cost. Luckily, we're rolling in money.
Are you okay with registering in S-Class?
Yes, we are. Fingers crossed, this is a doozy. Ladies and gents, welcome to the arena! A new challenger is here today. Ladies and gents, please welcome Terry. Now we begin the first match. Starts up with I believe, a voodoo doll and 2 dance veggies. Let's rumble! Let me tell ya, this fight can be no joke. Because I believe the dance veggies know KO dance, which can seriously mess you up. I'm hoping our team can deal with them quickly. Now, because we don't really have many of the biggest attacks out there, like, say, White Fire, or, I think it was what? The one above Snowstorm? White Air, I think it was? I forget the names of them. You get the idea. Because we don't have the strongest damaging spells, this fight might drag on, along with a lot of the other fights. Now, luckily, Rose does have plenty of status ailments to hand out, including Sleep, Confusion, and I think Surround. I don't really remember off the top of my head, but she's got plenty of ways to deal with things. Odo additionally has plenty of magic, which honestly, I'm going to actually set him to charge right now, just because I want him to be dealing damage. It's also not a bad idea for me to set Odo to mix, so that way, ideally, he'll try to use Tatsu Call to get us a 4th ally. But we'll see. For the first match, the victory goes to the challenger. Now we begin the second match. The first fight went pretty well. Now this fight, we should recognize. Let's rumble! Because here we are fighting a slime, a Draki, and an army ant. Do not be deceived. These monsters, despite looking weak, have some nasty, nasty abilities, including Radiant, which luckily we are fairly resistant to most spells, but things like Radiant can still cause a problem, so you gotta be careful. This fight, I think, in all honesty, is one of the better showcases of how good some of the more basic abilities can actually be. I mean, seriously, if you had a Draki that you bred up all the way throughout the game, it could probably be pretty good. As you see, the army ant has yell help, which is no good for us. We want to get this fight over with as quick as possible. Now, they are dealing some fair damage, but so are we. Worst case, I think next turn I want to throw Toto on Cautious, because I would like to heal before next fight, if I can. Let's see. Good, good. No sleep for us. That is perfect. Ideally, we'll get to Toto's turn before the Draki and Slime die. No, no cigar. That's okay, though. For the second match, the victory again goes to the challenger. Now we begin the third match. Here's the metal-loving master, Metal Man. Oh boy. This fight is tough.
Winning is not about luck, but about one's ability. Even if you do happen to encounter Metalies quite often, that has nothing to do with winning. Of course, I would be a bit envious.
Hey, so would I. They're worth darn good EXP. In fact, right there, the Metable is one of the best EXP monsters in the entire game. Unfortunately, the arena does not offer EXP. Otherwise, I would honestly recommend healing with this fight multiple times to try to farm EXP, but they thought of that. So, no luck. Still, not the end of the world. We'll be able to encounter them in the post-game. Now, here's the thing I was a little worried about is Rain Slash. We have pretty good defense across the board, but it can still deal notable damage, so you gotta be careful. This is gonna hurt. Yeah. As you can see, Massacre does a lot of damage. And it might be one of the reasons this fight is really hard. Luckily for us, Soul also has Rain Slash. This is the Metable, unlucky. Deals good damage. Again, luckily Soul has plenty of health to work with. Ooh, Eldrak attacks Metable, just takes him out. Perfect. Cast Vivified, no cigar. I'm gonna keep fighting, because if Soul can keep whittling them away, that would be ideal. Rain Slash isn't the most dangerous thing in the world. Again, it does add up, but Metal Drac ideally knocks himself out, or just does a lot of damage. That no revive is really starting to be a problem. No revive. Rain Slash, yeah, we've seen it before. Toto, please. Thank goodness. Okay. And just in time for him to get knocked out. Okay. Now, I'm hoping if I keep Soul on Cautious, Rose can ideally inflict some status ailments and deal with the enemy team. That Rain Slash is going to hurt Rose a fair bit. Ooh, this might be bad. Yep. As you can see, that Massacre is awful. If you get unlucky, it can take out even your tankiest of members. This is one of the first times we've wiped out.
It's unfortunate, but you have weak monsters.
Or we just got extremely, extremely unlucky with Massacre. It's kind of the actual answer. So, I'm going to reset, and we'll give it another try, because I am very confident we can take on this fight right now. So, I'm going to reset and meet you back at the third fight and see if things can go a little better. So, be right back. Alright, we are back again. Now, I have a bit of a different strategy for attacking this fight. I'm going to have Soul go charge, Rose do mixed, and Toto go mixed to ideally do Tatsu Call and get us a fourth ally, because that would seriously help. Again, the usual Rain Slash. We saw Metable use Exploded, which does hurt. But I'm gonna hope, fingers crossed, We get lucky on those massacre rolls. Instantly getting rid of Rose. Not great. Toto summons natural forces, pardon the flashing, Tatsu joins the battle. Soul, I want to go cautious. Toto go cautious. We will let Tatsu deal our damage and ideally do some healing in the interim. That is the hope. Rose gets instantly revived, thank goodness. Now the problem is going to be dealing with that massacre. Also too, Tatsu receives some damage. Toto unfortunately takes it. Not very lucky. Tatsu uses heal more. Very nice. We're gonna keep mixed on Rose. It's not my favorite thing having to do it, but it will work. Now the problem is that because it is still Vivify, the chance of actually reviving is terrible. Metal Jack hits himself. Very lucky. Panic Dance. No effect on Metable, but it hits Roboster and Metal Drac, which is very good. Tatsu throws down Lightning. Thank goodness. Deal some decent damage across the board. Keep on trying to get Toto. That Explode is a problem, though. As you can see, it deals a lot of damage. Tatsu also faints. We do not get a revive. Unlucky. As you can see, this fight is difficult. Namely because Metal Drac is just ridiculously overtuned with Massacre. Not that he's specifically hard, it's just very, very luck dependent. So ideally, he'll hit himself or Roboster. Beautiful. Keep everyone on cautious. I'm really hoping Soul hits the revive. Perfect. Roboster do something stupid, ideally. Mrs. Rose, that is fine. Toto performs the hustle. Give everyone a much-needed heal. This is Toto, okay. Now, honestly, at this point, I think I want everyone to go on an all-out offense. Because, frankly, with Massacre being a problem, like it is, we just can't keep up with that damage. So we need to just get rid of the not Roboster, the Metal Drac. Which with him gone, we absolutely can keep up. So ideally this turn of damage will have secured our victory. Which, as you can see, again, this is a very hard fight. Not because the actual monsters are well raised or have high stats, but because Metal Drac has Massacre, and it does a ridiculous amount of damage. If it weren't for that, the fight would be probably much too easy. So, you know. Also, as you can see there, Metal Cut didn't even do much to the Metable. That's how much defense that thing has. So, we might be here a moment. Unfortunately, I think Rose is going to flap. Yeah. That Explode hurts a lot. Ooh, 2 damage that time. Very nice. Go for cautious. Unfortunately, that's going to get rid of Toto. Now, the nice thing is that, being completely honest, the Metable has no chance of winning against just Soul. Because, a little secret here, the Metable has a whole 10 HP. Soul has basically 7 times that amount. But it is kind of entertaining to watch it miss repeatedly while we try to revive people. See, as you can see, Vivify is just terrible. It's nice when it works, but boy is it not meant for combat whatsoever. It's just one of the problems with it. And as you can see, too, Toto's speed is really starting to be an extreme detriment. Because with him just not being very fast, a lot of things sneak in damage where they really, really shouldn't. And although he has Heal Us, which does heal more, he almost always opts to go for um, the hustle just because it's cheap. So it's a rare example where having redundancy can actually be a big detriment. Because, frankly, heal us would just be better. But having a healing spell that doesn't rely on magic is still pretty darn good. So I stand by my decision to keep it on him. A beautiful 3 damage to finally finish the metabol. We got lucky, knocked out the enemy, and won. And because I reset, I saved 10k. Very nice. Congratulations! We have a new winner! Give a round of applause for Master Terry!
Well done. You survived S-Class. Now, you're the master and the representative of Great Tree.
How exciting! Monster Master Terry, you became our rep at last. The king needs you this way. Oh boy.
Terry, at last, you're in the final match. I've waited for this day. From now on, you can use all the rooms in the Chamber of Traveler's Gate. Oh my!
Oh, hey. How are you, King of Great Tree? Is there any master who was able to survive S-Class?
Don't be silly. You're sarcastic as always. You're standing next to our rep.
Oh, I didn't notice. I thought he was the janitor. You have already heard about the monster master of my kingdom. Rumor has it that our rep is the strongest master. You'll lose. Get used to the idea. Ha 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 ha. I'm looking forward to the tournament. Ha 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 ha.
Whatever. He doesn't know how strong you are. But Terry, people always want to know the future. We still have time before the tournament. Why not go behind the Gate of Reflection? I heard you can meet your future self there. See if you can actually meet your future self. You'll see if you can win or... I'll say no more. Busy.
So yes, other than the Starry Night tournament itself, the Gate of Reflection is the final challenge. Which, you know, obviously the Starry Night tournament is the final challenge, but this is the final one that's not just the tournament. So, it's a pretty big deal, and let me warn you, it's tough. Oh, Monster Master Terry, Great Tree is shaking. The quake is starting. Oh, yes, it is. Kind of took its sweet time. But hey, very nice. I assume Great Tree is encouraging you too. Come on, Master Terry. Go to the Chamber of Traveler's Gates. The Gate of Reflection is located in the Room of Reflection. I mean, yeah. I guess, man. It makes sense when you consider that most of the other rooms have more than one gate, but it is a little funny seeing that, you know, the Gate of Reflection is in the Room of Reflection. Like, go figure. Now, in order to prepare for what is coming, I recommend having all of your elf waters that you can. Probably a couple world leaves, maybe some sirloin, if you care about recruiting any of the upcoming monsters, which we will be going over. But the biggest change that has occurred is this guy. He's now back and connected to Great Tree. So, let's give him a chat, shall we? I've been alone for a long time. I'm lonely. I can't stand being alone anymore. I won't be picky about customers anymore. I've changed. Welcome. How may I help? The final merchant of the game. Finally, at long last, we can access his shop. And you know what he sells? Books. If you want to raise a monster real quick, and you have oodles upon oodles upon oodles of money, you feel free to waste it here. I see, frankly, no reason to ever use books. But hey, they're there. I guess. Do with it what you will. I find him to be completely useless. I frankly believe this is the best store in the game right here, just because it sells you sirloins. Second best, or runner-up, I would say is this guy over here, because he lets me buy world dues, which I want to buy several of because they will be useful. Also, one of the arena gals is here now.
Hi, little master. What a gloomy face. Would you like me to make you smile?
Sure.
Tickle, 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 tickle. Now a victory is a sure thing.
Thanks. So anyways, after you've been, tickled and done all your shopping, be prepared for a long endurance test. Now, ideally, from the Gate of Reflection, I seriously want everyone to be probably close to at least mid-20s, which, not a problem for Toto. He's doing pretty good. But Rose, and especially Soul, really need to catch up in that department. Now, luckily, there are a lot of fights in our future, whether we want it or not. Trust me. The Gate of Reflection houses some of the strongest monsters in the base game. And let me tell you, they're no joke. It might not be quite as hard as, say, the triple Archdemon fight that we've had in the library, but they'll still be pretty darn hard. So be careful. Now, I figure, seeing as we have a new place to go, let's talk to our two favorite informants and see what they have to say about it.
What? You want to know about the Gate of Reflection?
We sure do.
I see. I don't remember much, but I think there were wyverns, lionexes, mad hornets, rot ravens, and jewel bags living there. I think mad hornets attack with poison and paralysis. The guardian there was... No, I cannot. I have a headache. Leave me alone.
So yeah, they won't tell you what we're actually going to be facing. This is what makes this such an incredibly rough gate. How about you? You want to learn about the Gate of Reflection? Yes. I don't want to tell you this. I think evil beasts, shadows, evil wands, slime boars, lizard men, grizzly, and fireweeds were there. I remember there was a monster that used Pulsier. The guardian there was Duran, or something like that. Oh, yes, indeed. Duran. Quite the evil monster. One you might know from a later Dragon Quest game. At least later in terms of the first 6 games. I forget which one he's from specifically, but he's a name that if you played it, you probably understand how tough he is. He's equally as tough in this game. Oh joy. Now, frankly, I don't plan on really doing any breeding from here to the end of the game. There might be 1 or 2 things I end up doing just for the heck of it. But this here, other than the tournament, is our final challenge before we see if we can go all the way. It's gonna be a long journey. You're at the Room of Reflection. Please be careful. Let me tell... No, shouldn't. Should I do? Would like to know? Yes, I would like to know. Actually, nobody has survived the Room of Reflection. There were some who almost made it, but all of them were devastated. Those 2 in the arena used to be great masters, but I wonder if it's so terrible to know the future. So yeah. even if I've maybe not made this a big enough deal, the game certainly is trying. Again, make sure you have all your healing that you want. This is an endurance test. I would recommend saving your game, both A, because you beat the arena, and B, because you're going to want to just have a backup on this one. So, let's get in there, see what we're working with. Now, ideally, we'll use our favorite map magic, because, fair warning, there are 29 total floors, 28 of which are random. It's a long dungeon, with lots of terribly strong monsters. Do not be expecting weaklings here. There will be some fights that are easier than others, but a lot of these fights are going to look very similar to a lot of the foreign master fights. So be prepared. Make sure everyone is on the correct plan after the arena. Probably should have done that before I jumped in head first, but hey, hindsight is 20/20. Now, ideally, like I said, I'm really hoping to get a bunch of levels here. Ideally, from just clearing it normally, or if I have to, I will certainly come back and do some grinding off camera, because frankly, we need some levels. It's kind of been apparent since the library gate that with all these very powerful monsters who have incredibly good skills and stat gains, EXP becomes an extreme problem. And there's really not much we can do for that. Now, luckily, in the post-game, there is a place to fight metabals, just like in the arena fight. However, unlike the arena fight, these wild ones will give oodles upon oodles of EXP. Now, a normal medley gives about 1,000. Metabals usually give about 10,000. This is one of the best ways to farm later on once you've already beaten the game. The only shame is that you have to beat the game to access this. Still, it is one of the best rewards and things you can encounter and find. It just takes its sweet time. So once we have access to that, all of our worries will pretty much melt away, because we can fight the metabals and get a whole bunch of EXP. Then we can get a whole bunch of levels in a very short amount of time and be on our way. So that is the plan for later. But the trick is getting there first. So, gotta fight our evil ones, fight our shadows, beat the boss here, and of course, clear the Starry Night tournament and win the game. Simple stuff. Real easy work. All in an afternoon to jog down the road or whatever. Nothing hard. Now, to be honest, a lot of the monsters here aren't terribly difficult. That's where I definitely think the library has a much more difficult intro, just because you can find Arc Demons right away. But this gate will have harder monsters later on. And as you can see, for as easy as these fights are, they do give more EXP. So at the very least, it's well worth your time to come here to farm. This is easily the best place to farm once you have cleared S-Class. It's just, evidently, you need to clear S-Class. So, kinda not great when you're already at the end of the game, but it's still a welcome benefit. Because although, yes, it would have been nicer to have it a little earlier, I'm not going to complain. I'm going to take what I can get. And to be fair, if you do want oodles of EXP earlier and you're confident in your ability to fight and also breed, you can technically unlock the library really, really early. In fact, you can unlock it, technically, almost as soon as you've beaten the first few gates, if you have a friend who has a copy of the game and can trade with you. I don't expect you to have that, or if you're crazy, to have, 2 Game Boys, a link table, 2 copies of the game, or the 2 Game Cubes, a link table, etc. You get the idea. Any combination thereof to do trading. It's a fairly uncommon game. Probably not a lot of people play it still. But with, you know, the release of the Japanese versions, the compilation packs that were on, I think, 3DS? I mean, great for them. You know, they could take advantage of that. But for, you know, the layman here in America, probably not. Still, if you do happen to have 2 copies, or a friend with a copy, getting trades in could unlock you the library fairly early to speed up farming. So, could be a good avenue for EXP. Though, to be fair, that's also kind of why they let you fight Metalies early on with the Well Gate. They give a lot of EXP, though they are hard to fight and beat effectively. So I can see why that route may not appeal to everyone. Still, it goes to show there are lots of ways to raise your monsters. Also goes to show that if you get ambushed, it hurts. This is one of the reasons I recommended bringing a bunch of world dues and all your elf wars. You're probably going to blow through your MP here. From all the healing, the damage you're going to need to be healing, and all the different traps, maps, and everything in between. This is also one of the areas that, if you happen to have a lot of the later really good spells and abilities, it's super helpful and will save you a ton of time. In fact, there's a skill that I'm really hoping we learn soon that I would love to have here, because, as they mentioned, these monsters have a bunch of status elements. Eventually, Soul will learn a spell called Surge, which heals every single status ailment on all allies. It is one of the best spells in the game. However, he has to be, I think it's level 23 in order to learn it, so he's still a fair bit off from gaining it. And one of the reasons I really want to hit the mid-20s for just about everyone, because by that point, everyone should have pretty leveled spells, as well as all of their pretty much best abilities. Rose will get her signature ability, Soul will get Surge, Kodo should level up most of his skills. It just has oodles and oodles of goodies for us to be gaining plenty of levels, which, to be fair, goes without saying. Leveling up is just good in this game. Let's see, Step Guard, get our map magic going. Nice close hold, very good. As you can see, we're kind of blowing through this for as quick as I want to be. Because, like I said, I do want EXP, but I'm also not going to say no to a mystic hole that's just right there for me. Get our Step Guard going. Reveal the map. Oh, goofy one, okay. Let's see. Have all our world dues and stuff, so we're doing pretty good. I was just kind of debating internally. I'm like, do I want to heal Rose? She should be alright. Keep on searching for that mystic hole. Hope we get lucky. Okay, good. We did head the right way. Sometimes you never really know. This is one of the few cases where having the Beast Tail is actually still quite good. Ooh. Here's some of those harder fights. Slimeborg, Lizardman, and Grizzly, all actually fairly good monsters, all things considered. Slimeborg, specifically, is pretty great for breeding, just because he's one of those harder to obtain monsters. Lizardman has a really darn good ability in, I believe it's called Giga Slash, if I'm remembering correctly. If I actually check my notes, I can figure that out real quick. Let me take a look here while the fight is playing out. Yes, indeed, it is Giga Slash. Which, for reference, Giga Slash does anywhere from 350 to about 400 damage to one foe. It's darn good. Though, to be fair, It takes forever to learn. Normally it requires 4 of the different elemental slashes to obtain. It requires a ton, I mean a ton of stats. So, although it is good for single target damage, it has a lot of requirements. So I don't think the lizard men here actually innately know it, just because they don't have the stats for it. I believe they are a high enough level, if memory serves, but they certainly don't have all the stats required. You would need to do some breeding in order to even get Giga Slash. But still, it is good. That's why earlier in the game, I think it was Matt, allowed us to breed with his lizard man. Technically speaking, if you had bred a monster to have really good stats up to that point in the game, you could have learned it then and there from inheriting it from Lizard Man. So, it's a choice. But I think, generally speaking, if I remember correctly, I think Lizard Man's actually fairly easy to breed, all things considered. So, technically, you can kind of just get it whenever. Yeah, it's a dragon and a devil. So, if you want access to the almighty Giga Slash as early as possible, any dragon, any devil, as long as it doesn't make a specific monster, I suppose. That's what's kind of hard to say any, because sometimes they make specific monsters with certain combinations that'll override the generic ones. But man, as you can see, these later fights, boy, do they take one. I mean, I'm glad I have things to talk about, but oh, it goes to show we seriously need some more oomph behind our attacks here. Although status ailments are good, they're not going to win fights by themselves. Though to be fair, up to this point, they have won several of their fights by themselves. So, a bit of a contradictory statement to what we've seen in the past, but that's going to start changing real quick here. Still, good EXP, and hey, the lizard man, female, ironically, got up and is looking at us. We will take them. We'll just name her Liz, because it's easy and it's a cute name. And now, let's take a look at those stats. So yeah, although they are a high enough level to have learned Giga Slash, their stats are way off the mark. Like, I'm talking they would need to all be pretty much 200s across the board almost for it to even learn it. So, you get the idea. Still knows Evil Slash and Beast Cut and is part of the Dragon family. So, pretty useful. Probably end up using that later on. Yeah, in terms of farming, you probably want to stay on the earlier floors, just for earning EXP. Whereas the later floors offer stronger monsters that are probably better for breeding, generally speaking. Though to be fair, depending on your needs, I'm certain you can find a floor for everything you wish here. Use our map magic. Alright. Very good. Find a rib. I probably won't really use it. I figured I kind of just wanted to throw the sirloin out just because I want the inventory space more than anything. And frankly, there's really no specific monster I really care about recruiting here. In fact, I'm kind of just going to throw these ribs to these slime boards and the evil beast. And if we get one, we get one. If not, whatever. Luckily, we have plenty of money in the bank, so if I happen to need some other items after we either succeed here, go back in the meanwhile, or otherwise, well, we'll have it. A lot of ifs and ands today, I've noticed. But hey, that's what an open-ended game like this kind of does. You never really know what's coming next. Though, it generally gives you a decent idea. So although we may not know anything else about Duran, we at least know we are fighting Duran. So, you know, got a name. At the very least, because we are in the age of internet that we are in, you could look it up if you're really that curious. But I'd say it's much more impactful if you wait. Let's see. Used all our ribs. Very good. Yeah, and here's one of the things that's annoying about the slime board. They do a bunch of counterattacks for physical. but they notably aren't very resistant to spells. Like you think the other metal family slimes would be. So they're not all that bad to deal with, but they're also fairly tanky. So comes with some positives, comes with some negatives. Overall, along with all the other enemies here, they are still pretty good for XP, but like I said, stick to the first floor as you'll do much better there. Beely will finish off the fight fairly soon. Thank you, Twin Hits. Earn some good EXP. And hey, get a male slime board. Sure, welcome along, buddy. I'm gonna name you Borg. Kinda sounds like Berg. There we go. Let's take a look at your stats. Level 38. Really good agility. Decent defense. Pretty good attack. Good HP. Abysmal MP. But they know Rain Slash, Lightning, and Blade Defense. So, a pretty great monster, all things considered. I mean, if you're looking for, a slime to use for breeding, you could do a lot worse, admittedly. I honestly will take that Love Water. Oh, Coliseum, really? I mean, I guess. I'm kind of sad I've used all of our meat now, because it's kind of funny that you can steal the Coliseum guys' monsters, but frankly, there's really probably not going to be anything here I care to take from them. So, here's a Coliseum of much easier monsters than what we were fighting. It's one of the reasons that I don't mind the Coliseum so much when I'm progressing, but I do mind them when I'm trying to get EXP and progress. Just because you get Jack for it. Most of the items are negligible. So, I don't know. I find them a little bittersweet. They can be super useful as a break from all the hard fight, but they can also just be kind of a waste of time. Because, yeah, as cool as it is to see, two monsters from the arena gate, I would just go to the arena gate and fight them there. So, still, it is a neat little mechanic. But, yeah, I'm just not all that impressed. Especially after taking on S-Class. I mean, what a letdown. Finding a Coliseum that scales to your level, Just doesn't do it justice. But at the very least, easy fight, easy life, pretty good way to go along a floor. And I guess all things considered, doing 3 fights to guaranteed get to the next floor compared to being at a random point on the map, there's arguments that this is the better way to go about things. Now, obviously, you don't heal between fights, so that can be bad, but I mean, generally speaking, so long as you're not like a ridiculously high level with really bad monsters, I don't think you'll ever struggle with a Coliseum ever. Which, I mean, hey, I'm not arguing against. It's just, kind of let down. No one can beat us. The next reward's 1 rib. Would you like to fight more battles? Absolutely not. I am so good on that. At least they give you the choice. Now, let's see here. Get our map magic going. Nice little small floor. Now, I'm hoping to find either a heal room or a shop soon. Just because, A, I would like the refresh, and B, I want to save and leave the rest of this for next episode. Worst case, if we don't find one relatively soon, we'll just use a warp wing, and then what I'll probably do between episodes is I'll do a boatload of farming. Now, yes, it is going to be a little sad that, you won't really see it all, but also with how much EXP it takes, I don't think you want to see it all. What I'll probably do is I'll start the next episode, show all of our stats, do all the farming, show the afterward stats, and we'll go from there. And then, probably, I'll just start going through here like normal, get to about where we left off in this episode, and then continue from there. I think that's a pretty good plan. Just because, again, I would like to be a good deal more powerful for what's coming up, if I'm being completely honest. Oh, this is just a massive floor. Yeah, we'll keep trucking for a minute, but just not feeling great about it, if I'm being completely honest. We are keeping up pretty well in terms of MP and HP. Also, hello, Fireweed. I always loved their sprite with it being, on fire, but it's a blue plant. Love that. I want to say in the field they are red, but in battles they're blue, which I love. Well, blue and purple. Yeah, I'm not really thinking we're gonna get too much farther. Trust me, I would love to be wrong about that, but I just don't foresee it. Gosh. Seeing Blaze Air, or Fire Air, or whatever it is this far in the game is just, it hurts the soul. Sleep Air is good, though. I like that one. But I really wish we had, like, White Fire, or Blizzard, or some of the other spells we haven't seen yet, but will soon enough. In fact, I wonder if Toto is close to learning one of those. He actually might be if I go look. Because although we've had things like Zap for a long time, we've not seen the evolution of it, because there is a different spell. Gosh, it's at level 30. Yeah, we're not going to be seeing that anytime soon. Now, if I do all that farming off-cam, then we'll probably see it. But until that happens, well, the most we can do is do our fights and move on. Also, notably, Rose has complete resistance to lightning? Huh. Neat. Beautiful. Gain some nice EXP. As you can see, we haven't leveled up a single time, which is why I kind of think I'm going to do a lot of farming by myself. I mean, if you just look at Toto's EXP, 400,000 EXP to be at level 24. Rose and Soul aren't even at half that amount. Yeah, I'm in for a lot of farming, huh? Well, that's the nature of the beast. Also why I kind of brought up the Metabo farming later on, because it is much nicer than having to just do these fights. But it's also why I want to show them off, because, if you need some levels and you want some easy fights to do it, fighting the evil beasts and the wands, the evil wands, on the first few floors, probably the way to go. They're not that dangerous, they don't hurt too hard, they don't have annoying abilities. It's the recommended route, I would take. Now, if you're more comfortable with fighting the Archdemons and the Army Crabs, or whatever the heck else was in the library gate, by all means, go that route. But for me, personally, I'm gonna farm these. Now, notably, if all you have is the library route, well, use what you got. Healy, goodbye, Mr. Slimeborg. And there is the Mr. Bull. Let's see, we're on floor 11. That's where I'm thinking if we can get to floor 12, if we get a save there, then what I'll probably do, I think regardless of what happens, I'll probably Warp Wing, and then do a bunch of farming, like I said. Yeah, okay. So, let's enact the plan, Warp Wing on out, get our heal, And then what I'll plan for next time we play Dragon Warrior Monsters is I'll show everybody stats, do a boatload of farming, just a ridiculous amount. It's probably going to take me several days if I'm being completely honest. We'll go through the dungeon, get caught up back to where we were with our newly powered up team, and then go take on Duran and every other thing that stands in our way. It's going to be quite the time. After all, the Starry Night tournament is rapidly approaching. We've come a long way, but we've got a long way to go still. As always, I'm Brett. Thanks for watching. Have a good one.